Hey guys, welcome to another Thought Nut Series draft. This time drafting the new set, Aether Revolt, which is out online. And we've got some good cards here. There's Zarikev, Skyship Raider. There's Deadeye Harpoon, Maverick Thopterist, and Aetherstream Leopard. I think I'm going to pick Maverick Thopterist. This guy just seems like the most powerful card in the pack. Even though he is a gold card, I think he's a little bit better than Zarikev and Aetherstream Leopard in that he's more powerful and I'm more willing to take a risk on a powerful gold card such as this. Zarikev is quite good. 3-4 worth of stats if you're attacking. Still pretty good on defense as well. Deadeye Harpooner I think is interesting. I was a little down on it on our set review, but I'm very interested to see if this card can actually be good. Aetherstream Leopard is just solid in the green deck, but I think I want to see how powerful Improvise is as a mechanic, because cost reduction mechanics are usually pretty good. And so here I'm looking at Aether Poisoner, Shock, Tezzeret's Touch as all very powerful options. Shock is the least powerful of these, but it's the one that's in our colors, and Tezzeret's Touch definitely the most narrow because you have to have a 5/5, but it also goes well in the Improvise deck because you need to pick up a lot of sundry artifacts to empower it. And Aether Poisoner is just fine, but if I want to be in Grixis, then Tezzeret's Touch is a little bit better. Yeah, so I'm kind of trying to choose between these two cards. Okay, I think I'll just be a little bit flexible, pick Tezzeret's Touch here. Not sure if that's correct, but I do want to try that out. And a couple of very powerful cards here that are in our colors. Scrapper Champion and Chandra's Revolution. I'm also interested in Implement, which I hope to pick up later. Druid of the Cowl, also very good. Chandra's Revolution is just very good removal, but Scrapper Champion is just insane if you can have it keep growing every turn. It's basically that 4-mana vehicle with Crew 1 at uncommon that gets a counter every time. It's similar to that, and that just completely snowballs. I really like Chandra's Revolution as just efficient removal, but I think that you want to be more focused on threats than necessarily relying on answers in this format. Okay, I like Reverse Engineer and Lifecraft Cavalry. I think I'll pick a Reverse Engineer here. Ooh, there's also Bastion Inventor. I think we'll have fewer chances to pick up a Reverse Engineer, though. Okay, so there's an Implement of Examination, Malice, and Tezzeret's Touch. So do I want to pick... Like, this is like just very powerful. How many Tezzeret's Touches do we want? I think, given that we're getting these now, I think I do want to pick these up now. Like, so now, given that we have these powerful cards, I want to pick up as many Renegade maps as possible. That's the 1-mana artifact that enters tapped, and you can sacrifice it to search for a basic and put in your hand. If you Tezzeret's Touch it, they can't, like, shock it in response. Unlike if you try to aim it at a servo. I mean, Prophetic Prism is obviously the best target for it, but we don't see that till pack 3. Yeah, I think people in this pod so far do not seem to be in this Grixis pool of Improvise decks. Let's see. A lot of interesting cards here. There's Hinterland Drake, which is probably the most powerful card in the set in a vacuum, just as a flyer. But we also need artifacts in order to have Improvise going. And I think we want to actually go for a more synergistic pick. So that would be one of these Automata, which are the better ones in the cycle, or Universal Solvent. I think I want to err on the side of being cheaper, so it's either the Solvent or the Automaton. I think I'm going to go for the Automaton here. Removal is... I mean, sorry, the solvent just seems poor as removal, and, you know, this guy at least attacks and blocks. So there are these two implements, an Aether Swooper, and also a late Caught in the Brights, but I think we're already pretty solidly in, like, blue, black, maybe splashing red. There's Aether Swooper, which can pretty easily get an attack in and get a servo. There's also an implement of Examination, which I'm kind of in for. But, again, I'm going to go for the cheaper card and pick the Aether Swooper. Renegade Map is Get in My Deck. Is this our original pack? Where are we? No, it's not. We have, yeah, the next one will be our original pack. And, yeah, it's definitely Renegade Map here. Next would be Implement of Malice, but we are in 3 colors right now. So, yeah. Otherwise, I'd look at that implement pretty highly. There was also an Aether Stream Leopard there. Just kind of... I don't know, that seems pretty late for it. That's a very solid pick. But we already have very powerful cards in other colors, so... I'm not afraid to pass that up. And yeah, this was our original pack. It's either the Tampering or Implement of Combustion. I think I'm just picking an implement here. I mean, it is the really bad on rate. Just 2 damage for a Needle Drop is pretty awful. But here, if it can be a Mox, then I'm pretty happy there. Also, we have these Tezzeret's Touches, so even if that dies, we get to draw a card. Obviously, if you enchant it, of course. So these are all pretty mediocre. I guess I'll take Embrol Gear Smasher, because it's at least a creature that can attack and block, and Ice Over is pretty bad in that, you know, you have to have your opponent hit you with it in order for it to act as actual removal. And if it's a large green creature, then, you know, it's still not good. Blue looks pretty open. I guess I'm taking an implement. Otherwise, it's Shipbreaker Moray or Metallic Rebuke, which is still, like, just okay. Bastion Inventor Wield? Yeah, I'm way into that over the other Metallic Rebuke. Because, you know, 5 mana 4 for Hexproof would be acceptable and limited, and then if you can get this at 4 mana or cheaper, it becomes pretty insane. There aren't that many ways of dealing with a big guy like this. So this deck's looking pretty good so far. So we want, in pack 2, more of the good implement cards. I mean, improvised cards, like another Maverick Thopters would be great. This is fine sideboard card. Or the, or a Sweatworks Brawler, I think it's called. The 3 in a red, 3/3 with Menace. Or an Enraged Giant. The 6 mana 4/4 Trample Haste Improvise. That would be excellent as well. More Renegade maps would be awesome as well. Alright, Ice Over, I'll probably start 1. Though if I get better removal, then it comes out pretty easily. And also enchantment-based removal is much worse in this set because, especially against white decks where, because they have a lot of flicker effects and bounce effects. This pack does not have a lot for us. It has a lot of stuff for the white deck. There's Thopter Arrest and Caught in the Brights. Yikes. So there's the Crusher, which I'm not really in for. Am I really just picking another Aether Swooper? I mean, I guess it's not awful. Like, you can block servos and Thopters, but the second one's a lot worse than the first. But that pack was just pretty bad for us. It's just the luck of the draw. In that case. I mean, even then I'm not stooping to pick the white implement. Yahenni's Expertise and Illusionist's Stratagem. both quite interesting. There's also a Daredevil Dragster. It's crew 2. We don't actually, well, we don't have that many creatures right now. It's an interesting one. Like, obviously the draw 2 cards is a lot more relevant in a slower deck like this than in an aggressive one. There's also Daring Demolition, and I think it's Yaheni's expertise, because the way that we kind of lose is just getting run over by the fast decks, and we also have some pretty good 3-drops to cast. And also, it's like, also Daring Demolition is very good, but there's also the fact that if you have the opportunity to play with a rare early on in a format, you should, because, you know, rares, you have the opportunity to play with them so rarely. Ain't that the truth? So it's best to see how well they play, so you have some information. So if you're in a higher stakes event, then you can decide, oh, I played with this and it was insane, or I played with this early and it was awful. You have some information there. Okay, so either Shock or Trophy Mage. I think I'm just going to go with the Shock here. I mean, Trophy Mage can get this implement, which is not bad, but removal is removal. And like I said, I just want to have some way of dealing with smaller creatures. There's another Reverse Engineer, which is which is interesting. I don't know if I want another one, since we have Implement and another Reverse Engineer. There's also Leave in the Dust, which I like quite a bit. I don't think this is a frontline Rebel deck. Also, how is this not creature type Rebel? Seriously, Wizards. Resourceful Returns, interesting. Mobile Garrison's okay, but it's honestly one of the worst vehicles, and I feel pretty fine not really picking it. There's Leave in the Dust, Universal Solvent. Yeah, I guess I'll go for a Leave in the Dust here. Ooh, these cards are both very strong. I like Windkin Raiders a lot as a big guy we can improvise out early. There's also Merchant's Dockhand, and we already have quite a few good artifacts, and it's also a cheap artifact to improvise with. You know what? I'm just gonna take it here, based on what I said earlier about how you should play with rares early on in the format to see how well they play. And alright, I think we're a servo schematic deck. We have 1, 2, 3. Well, just 3 artifacts right now. Actually, realizing we don't have a ton of improvised cards right now, I should say. We have an Embrawl Gear Smasher and 2 Tezzeret's Touches. Otherwise, there's like a Night Market card which we can probably get late. Yeah, I'm down. Okay. I was about to say, okay, there's an Inventor, but I think we need the second Renegade map. Like, we're going to need to make sure that our mana is good. Ooh. Skyship Plunderer is quite strong. There's also Metallic Rebuke, Shipbreaker Moray. Yeah, wait, I'm going with the Plunder. We don't have a... Okay, we have some energy and not a lot else right now, but we might be able to pick up some energy synergies in the Kaladesh pack. There aren't as many energy sinks in this format, and yeah, I think this was our original pack, which is pretty bad. So we'll take a Crusher that I probably don't play. So Implement or Stratagem. We can flicker a Thopterist, and that's it. Guess I'll take it, even though it's not great. Ooh, now I will definitely take a Trophy Mage. Second Leave in the Dust becomes a lot worse than the first. Fen Hauler is aggressively medium. Ooh, do I want another Reverse Engineer? I'm doing I don't think I need to ask myself twice if I want another card draw card. And Oh, wow! Another Winkin Raiders. Now all this deck needs is like a Seated the Synod or something, and we're off to the races. Sure, probably not playing this and don't need a second negate. Really? I guess people just are not a fan of blue in this pod? Wow. Alright. Got some interesting choices. There's Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot, which is probably just a strict upgrade over this Implement of Combustion. Make Obsolete, which can be pretty good against opposing servos and stuff like that. Panharmonicon, I don't think we have many things for it. There's also a Young, which isn't bad. I don't know, I think we can probably wheel this Puzzle Knot. And good removal is a little hard to come by, so yeah, let's go with the Young. There's that. We can get 2 energy off of this. We can search up nothing with the Trophy Mage. Get another servo with this. Yeah, there's pretty much nothing there, so I'm pretty happy with the Young. Alright, there's no there's no Prophetic Prism in the pack, so I guess we are in for a reprisal. Certainly don't mind having this removal. I guess there's also a Keyfoul. Yeah, I think reprisal actually gets better in this format because the average creature size is smaller. There's Weaponscraft Enthusiast and Harness Lightning, but I think we have to take the Lightning because of our removal situation. Oh man, this pack is pretty stacked for us. I would love an Insidious Will, Gear Seeker, and Prism. Jeez. Like we already have a ton of good. It's like we have a lot of good artifacts and early artifacts, and we have a lot of good late game. I guess Gear Seeker's not as valuable as it was, and we do need the fixing, so I'll go with the Prism here. But man, that pack was stacked. I would love to get that Insidious Will back, and for this deck. We don't have a ton of ways of dealing with really huge creatures. Like, we can maybe Harness Lightning something after gaining a bit of energy. But yeah, Prism's good. Artificer's Goggles, Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot, Young. I'm just gonna reserve this for now. How many Artificers do we have? Artificer, Pirate, Warrior, Wizard. What? How is that not an Artificer? That's an Artificer. That's an Artificer. That's an Artificer. That's an Artificer. Huh. Is this an... No, it's a Construct. Yeah, I guess Goggles are pretty good. Either that or like a Young or a Puzzle Knot. Yeah. I mean, it's a Mox, right? Ooh. Sparks? Welding Sparks, get in my deck. Yeah, I don't really think that we are a Storm deck. And we have significant diminishing returns with an Inventor's Goggles. So, yeah. Ooh. Another. See, that's why we didn't need it. There's going to be plenty where that comes from. There's the Goggles. There's Select for Inspection. Yeah, I think Select is good. We might not even need to play it if we can just. I mean, it might be even a very good sideboard card. All right, I don't mind a Pillar Bug here over a P-Foul. Another thing for our Trophy Mage to get. I'm a little surprised to see this still here. Like, it's definitely main deckable. I mean, maybe there aren't as many servos and stuff, but you can still use it as a backwards overrun, and make it so that your opponent's creatures die if they make for a big attack and you make some favorable blocks. Like, favorable to you because you know you have this, and then you're able to blow them out. Or you can set up a good attack for yourself, too. Alright. So we can... Yeah, we have a ton of good cards. Hinterland Drake, I guess, can... It's like, when we're talking about cutting a Hinterland Drake, you know your deck is pretty good. I guess Select for Inspection is not the greatest in the main, especially since we have a lot of good removal already. But it's very good out of the board if your opponent's like a vehicle deck. You can, once they spend their entire turn crewing something, you can just select it for inspection, and they have to spend a lot of mana to recast their stuff. So, pretty happy there. Mind Rot is a good sideboard card. You can bring that in against slow matchups. If your opponent has a big 7-drop bomb, you can do this on turn 6 to try to get it, or maybe even earlier because they'll need all of their resources. Like, they need their... wow. They need all their dudes to stay alive until then, and they also need their lands to cast their stuff, and you can put them in kind of an awkward situation. Yeah, Ice Over, get out of here. Breaks my heart that no one's in the Cloud Lacer deck. Like, is no one a fan of value? I guess we can cut this Gear Smasher too. We even have enough creatures. Yeah, I guess Servo Schematic is worse without the Gear Smasher, and we picked up a ton of good artifacts to improvise out. And I guess Welder Automaton is not that strong, especially since we picked up a lot of good one mana spells plus the Prophetic Prism, and the activated ability has a lot less value when we're not beating down. Maybe I'll Leave in the Dust. Like, I guess like the first thing we do is just take out all the situational cards and the less powerful ones. Yeah, I don't think I want to go below these 12 creatures. I mean, it's kind of like almost 14 because we have these 2 Tezzeret's touches. It's like, you know you're in a good situation when it's like, which of these removal spells should I cut? And I think we can actually run 16 land to Renegade map. Kind of like how, I mean, it is a little bit worse than Lay of the Land. You could, in heavy green decks, you can, or in the set of Tune of Aether. So in heavy green decks, you can often go like 16 lands, 1 Attune with Aether. Actually, we might just go to 15 lands with these 2 Renegade maps, because you don't need the green mana. Like, with the Lay of the Land, you had to have green mana in order to have these. So I'm going to put these aside for now so we can get an accurate count of how many non-lands we have. Actually, oh no, we need 23, and then go to 25 with the Renegade maps. Like, I like a lot of these cards. I mean, we don't have like +1/+1 counter synergy with the Skyship Plunder, but 2/1 Fire is still very strong. Man. Maybe we just cut as much black as possible and make our only splash the Tezzeret's touches. Like, if we can just make our mana better by taking out the Yahenni's Expertise and the Da Young, then we just have 2 cards which we're fine just casting in the late game. Like, if you want to be able to cast a Yahenni's Expertise, then you have to have, I would say, about 6 black sources. And we have the Prism and the 2 maps, so we could go like 3 swamps, but it's always good to just make your mana base as clean as possible. And Tezzer's Touch is still fine if you cast it on like turn 5, on like an Implement or a random Renegade map you have lying around. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 artifacts, 9 if you count the Aether Swoopers, and think that they're going to get in, which I'm pretty sure they are. Okay, this deck looks pretty sweet. Yeah, we can just add a bunch of basics, suggesting 10 islands. Well, we do have a lot of blue cards, but I do think we need to be able to cast our red spells with regularity, so let's go with 5 mountains, because even though we don't need red that early, we do want to hit it on turn 3 and 4 for, like, be able to cast Welding Sparks or a Furious Reprisal, and 2 swamps seems correct. So you have one that you can, like, I like having 2 tutor targets if you have something like a Renegade map. I mean, Renegade map can hit anything else, so I guess that doesn't matter. But I was thinking back to a draft in Legacy Cube I had where I had a Windswept Heath in a mono red deck splashing white, and I had a Sacred Foundry, and I decided to add a plane so that I would have 2 targets for that. Like, if we draw the second swamp, then it's fine. We can just use the Renegade map to find something else. Okay. I'm interested to see how well this deck does. It seems like a very good example of what you want to be doing with your improvised cards. I'm not sure. Actually, maybe I just swap the Fierce Reprisal for a Leave in the Dust. I mean, it does make our mana base a little better because we can rely on our blue spells a little bit more. That's kind of interesting. And it can deal with larger creatures a little bit better than the Furious Reprisal. Yeah, at this point it's just a question of, like, what powerful late game spells do we want. I guess I'll start with the Furious Reprisal and then be aware that I have this Leave in the Dust that I can bring in also a Yahenni's Expertise. Like, if I happen to be in a matchup where, like, all these cards are good, like, let's say we run into a go-wide deck that makes a lot of tokens, then we can cut, like, probably don't cut the Harness Lightning or the Welding Sparks, but we can, like, do something like this, where these cards are a little poor against a go-wide deck, like Scrapper Champion maybe going blocked by a bunch of tokens. So we want to bring in, like, Expertise, make obsolete, Leave in the Dust. Well, I guess Reprisal's still good there. So I don't know, but it's good to remember that you have a bunch of sideboard options there. Okay. Deck's definitely interesting. Let's take it for a spin. See you guys round 1.